Animal Jam's art is not something you would think about all the time. It's something that you just have in the background and remember that, oh yeah, this is all made by amazing artists. Well, today we're looking through the changes and history of official Animal Jam art. Hope you'll enjoy. All right, so obviously I'm not talking about just fan-made art. There are an insane amount of talented artists in this community, and I wouldn't even be able to cover every single person. That's impossible. We're talking about official art made by Animal Jam themselves today. And obviously it's existed since 2010 with the introduction of the game and has changed pretty dramatically over the course of 14 years by this point. Stuff like the original Phantoms having like 6 legs, 5 of them are like hair, or stuff like the original Alphas and how they looked compared to the modern Alphas. You could definitely see that there was a style difference between when the beta happened and now. One of my favorite artists that makes art for Animal Jam is Taylor Maw. They are a very talented artist, and you definitely 100% used something that they have created, because they have made a whole lot of concept art for this game, for both playwild and classic, but mostly classic. He's been working on this game since the beta, so he's been around for a long time and only left Wildworks in 2021, so he has 11 years of Animal Jam work under his belt, and I really respect that. Some examples of his work you probably have seen before are old login screens. Those login screens that looked kind of like a comic book in a way. Those are made by Taylor Maw. Some other examples are a lot of concept art, as I said earlier. There wasn't that much differences between them. And some animals that came out a long time later, like the gorilla for example, were concept art all the way back in 2010. So that's pretty crazy. Pets with the concept art is pretty much the exact same as well, which is really impressive. I'd like to say that, yeah, probably the father of the Animal Jam art style is Taylor Maw, to be honest. One of my favorite pieces of art he's made is this samurai penguin picture. Definitely not because I wear samurai swords on my main look. Definitely. It's very, very cool. This was made for a Jamad journal entry where they had like a page of, oh, make this look with all in-store items or whatever. And they showed you like how much gems it cost, and it was really cool. He definitely went too crazy for what would normally be just a Jamad journal post, so I really love that artist. Probably my favorite that he's made before. Especially love the alphas as well. The original alphas and beta art in general is just such a different art style from how Animal Jam looks now, and I'd really love to see an alternative universe where they stayed mostly with that art style. With animal concept art that he's made, one thing that you can notice is that the animal concept art kinda looks similar to how the original beta art looks, which is kinda cool. They look more angular than how they would actually look in the game. Like for example, this horned owl look kind of like a shape, like a trapezoid or something. I'm not sure how to exactly put it, but it definitely looks more stylized than how it does look in the game.
Oh my goodness!
The art style has changed a little bit ever since playwild has became Animal Jam's main focus in 2020 after the amazing migration. Since 2020, Wildworks focused on Animal Jam, playwild, or now just called Animal Jam, and animal design I feel has become more realistic in comparison to how it is on Classic. And an example of that is probably the brand new animal, the vampire bat. This animal is pretty cool, I would say. Stuff like these animals do work still. They're very nice animals, but they are not as cartoony and are a little more cutesy now than what they would have been with the original art style on Classic. Animals like the unicorn and other animals would probably look very different if adapted to Classic, and you could go see some of my ideas for that in a video that I made a few months ago. So I would say probably some animals like the duck or frog, for example, are animals that would probably look way more cartoony if they were made on Classic first, compared to playwild. They look a little realistic, but I still do like them quite a bit. The best example of this trick that changed is, of course, the kangaroo. The kangaroos on playwild are much cuter than they are on Classic, and even much cuter than they are on the other mobile game that Wildworks created, AJ Jump. I wouldn't be surprised if the AJ Jump model was changed a tiny bit and taken over to be the playwild kangaroo, but they actually didn't do that at all. And I'm a little disappointed about it. I really like how the kangaroos look on Classic. They've really grown on me quite a bit, and if I didn't choose a raccoon, there's a possibility I might have chose kangaroo for my main animal, funnily enough. I really just like how sometimes there are the different dramatics that are chosen for animal design, like the gorilla's gigantic arms, for example, there's a chance that if this animal was designed after 2021, after Taylor Maw and his art style sort of left, that these arms wouldn't be as gigantic as they are right here. And I don't know if that would have been a sad thing or a cool thing. I really do like the gorilla, though. I think that it's really cool. Here are some examples of new concept art that they have been showing on their Instagram. And I really do like this little series that they've started creating, because originally only people like Jambassadors might be able to see stuff like this concept art. And the new artists are very talented. I did not get permission to tell their names, so I'm not going to tell their names, but I have seen some of their art, and one of the artists even had their pet cat put into the game as a plushie, which is adorable. I really do love that they were allowed to do that. That's really cool. Though the main thing you probably think about when you think of Animal Jam art is Jambassador artwork, pieces of players' main looks that were created by Animal Jam themselves. And some say that if you get art like this, you have quote-unquote made it in your Animal Jam journey. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's definitely a great achievement if you do get art made by them. Originally, this was made for top content creators before the Jambassador program existed. But now, if you become a Jambassador like me, you get art of your main look to use in posts and videos and all that stuff. And it's just so cool to see what they do with your look. It really is. Something about how they polish the look is something only official Animal Jam can do. No one else in the community actually is able to be as polished. Even though some people do get close, it's unmatched. One of the things that I really like the most, though, is probably the shading on items. Usually when other players in the community create assets, they don't have the best shading ability because they have to recolor their items to the player's colors, and the shading might get messed up in that way. But when official art comes out, they're basically just remaking a new asset for that piece. So here's a little process on how to get the Jambassador art after you became one. And this is probably something you may have never seen before. After you become Jambassador, which is a whole other thing, you are asked to make a little reference sheet on a PowerPoint to present to the developers for them to use to make your asset. And here's an example of one, which is mine, right? What you have to show is all the items that are on your look. Probably now, if you're on playwild, you could also show the movement placement of your item with fit check, because when I made this, fit check didn't exist yet, but I had a classic main look anyway. You could also put notes about your pose. Like, for example, a lot of players decide to choose a pre-made pose and adapt their main look to that pose, but there also is a possibility to get a custom pose if nothing existing fits your niche that you want. Like me, for example, there were no standing raccoons holding swords assets, so they had to make mine from scratch. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. You've seen this PowerPoint slide reference that I've given them. Here is the final product, and it is absolutely amazing. I remember logging on and seeing that art, and my jaw dropped. I did not expect to see such an amazing piece of art. I know I'm saying amazing a lot. That's truly how I feel about it. I just cannot wait to use this and show it all to you, because this video is also the debut of this piece of art for the whole community. But seriously, it came out so nicely done. I think that the pose especially is something that I'm super proud to see, because again, one of the main things that my raccoon has is the ability to hold my swords in my raccoon's paws or whatever, and also have the sash still on it, like what I clarified in the art reference sheet. And it just blew all my expectations away. Hopefully, in the near future, you'll be able to get my piece of art as a wall sticker, like one of these in the game, which is super exciting to see. I'm not sure when exactly this will happen, but don't worry, it will happen. If you want to use my asset or others as well, you are able to use it on Animal Jam Archives. There are basically every Jambassador art on there, past and present, and you are able to use them as you want. It's under the Jammers tab on there, and yeah, I can't wait to see what you do with my asset as well as other people's as well. But anyway, what's your opinion on Animal Jam's official art? Do you really like it, or do you think it needs improvement? Leave a comment saying what your opinion is. If you have any favorite pieces of art maybe that you've seen before, anything that comes to your mind. You could also say opinions about how my Jambassador art looks. I think it deserves all the praise. Definitely the best Jambassador art that exists out there. No bias whatsoever. Definitely. If you like my content, then why not subscribe? And with that, this is Brad Stormer, storming out.